What if I told you that the moment you die, you're being deceived? That the white light everyone talks about, the tunnel of love and peace, is actually a trap designed to erase your memory and send you right back here? What if every lifetime you've lived has been part of an endless harvest, where beings you can't see feed on your emotions, your struggles, your suffering? This isn't just ancient mythology or conspiracy theory. Cultures separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years all warned about the same thing: interdimensional entities they called the Archons, who built this prison we call reality. And the most terrifying part, you've already fallen for their trick countless times. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the true nature of consciousness itself. The word Archon comes from ancient Greek, meaning ruler or authority. But these aren't rulers in any traditional sense. According to Gnostic texts discovered in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, in 1945, the Archons are parasitic entities that exist in a realm between the physical and the truly divine. The Gnostics described them as beings created not by the true source, but by a false god they called the Demiurge. This Demiurge, in its ignorance and arrogance, believed itself to be the only god. It created our material universe as a prison, a controlled environment where it could rule. And it wasn't alone. The Archons serve as its administrators, its wardens, its harvesters. But here's what makes this truly unsettling. The Gnostics weren't the only ones who knew about these entities. The ancient Egyptians spoke of the lords of karma, who weighed souls and determined their fate. Hindu texts describe the asuras, deceptive beings who trap souls in the cycle of samsara. Buddhist teachings warn of Mara, the demon who keeps beings locked in illusion and rebirth. Native American traditions speak of trickster spirits, who deceive souls at the threshold of death. Different names, different cultures, same warning. There are beings who benefit from keeping you trapped here, making you reincarnate over and over again. But why? What do they gain from this? Think of it this way. If you were an entity that couldn't experience physical sensations or emotions directly, but you could feed on the energy those experiences create, what would you do? You'd create a system that generates maximum emotional energy. You'd create Earth. Every emotion you feel, especially the intense ones, fear, anger, grief, despair, even intense joy, creates energetic frequencies. These frequencies are what the Archons harvest. They're emotional vampires, but on a cosmic scale. And the most efficient way to generate these emotions: put souls through an endless cycle of birth, suffering, temporary pleasure, loss, and death. Then make them forget everything and do it all over again. This is what the Gnostics called the prison planet, or the matrix of control. The physical universe, according to these ancient texts, is a dense, heavy realm designed to keep consciousness trapped and dumbed down. Your body is the prison cell. Your ego is the guard. And the endless cycle of reincarnation is your sentence. But the most ingenious part of this system isn't the trap itself. It's the fact that most souls willingly walk back into it. How? Through the death trap mechanism. You've heard about near-death experiences where people talk about seeing a bright white light, feeling overwhelming love, and being greeted by deceased relatives or spiritual beings. It's beautiful, comforting, and almost universally described as peaceful. But what if that's exactly the point? What if it's designed to be irresistible? According to researchers who've studied thousands of near-death experiences and out-of-body accounts, there's a disturbing pattern. Many people report feeling pressured to go toward the light, being told they have unfinished business, or being convinced by familiar faces that they need to return or move forward into the light. Here's the mechanism, as described by those who've researched the Archon theory. When you die, your consciousness separates from your physical body. At this point, you're highly vulnerable. You're disoriented, you're drawn to what feels familiar and comforting. The Archons, who can read your thoughts and memories, shapeshift, and present themselves as your deceased loved ones, spirit guides, angels, or religious figures you expect to see based on your beliefs. They tell you that you have karmic debts to repay. They show you a life review designed to make you feel guilty about your mistakes and convince you that you need to go back to learn lessons or balance karma. They present the white light tunnel as the path to heaven, to peace, to God. But it's actually the reincarnation tunnel, a memory-wiping mechanism that erases your true identity and sends you back into another physical body. Once you enter that tunnel and go through the light, your memory is wiped clean. You forget who you really are, an infinite, powerful spiritual being. You forget all your past lives, all the times you've been through this before. You're born as a helpless infant, programmed with new limitations, new fears, new beliefs designed to keep you controllable. And the cycle begins again. More suffering, more emotional energy for them to harvest, more food for the Archons. How do you know if this is really happening? Look at the design of human existence itself. Look at the patterns. Sign 1. Amnesia is built into the system. Why don't you remember your past lives? Why are you born completely helpless and dependent, requiring years of programming before you can even function? If reincarnation is meant to help souls evolve, why would you forget everything you learned? It's like going to school, passing all your exams, then having your memory completely erased before the next grade. That's not education, that's control. Sign 2. Suffering is constant and necessary. Look at the structure of physical existence. To survive, you must consume other life forms. Animals eat animals. Humans eat plants and animals. Everything lives by destroying something else. Pain is unavoidable. Disease, aging, and death are guaranteed. This isn't a school for spiritual growth. It's a farm designed to produce maximum suffering and emotional intensity. Sign 3. The system punishes free thinkers. Throughout history, those who questioned the control systems, who sought truth beyond the approved narratives, were silenced, ridiculed, or destroyed. The matrix of control includes not just the Archons, but the systems they've influenced. Religions that teach you you're a sinner who needs saving. Governments that convince you you're powerless without them. Economic systems that keep you enslaved to survival. Sign 4. You feel like something is wrong. Deep down, you've always felt it. That nagging sense that reality isn't what it seems, that you're meant for something more, that this world of suffering and limitation can't be all there is. That feeling isn't depression or delusion. It's your true self remembering what the Archons made you forget. One of the most effective tools in the Archon system is the concept of karma itself. Not the real cosmic principle of cause and effect, but the weaponized version that's been programmed into religious and spiritual systems. You're told that you must repay karmic debts, that you chose this life, these struggles, these traumas to learn lessons, that you signed a soul contract before birth, agreeing to all of this. But here's the question nobody asks. Who told you that? Who showed you that contract? And why don't you remember agreeing to it? The idea that you volunteered for suffering, that you chose abusive parents, poverty, disease, or trauma as learning experiences, is one of the most insidious forms of spiritual gaslighting ever created. It makes you accept your prison as a classroom. It makes you blame yourself for your suffering instead of questioning who benefits from it. Real spiritual evolution doesn't require suffering. It doesn't require memory loss. It doesn't require endless repetition of the same patterns lifetime after lifetime. That's not education. That's traumatization designed to keep you weak, confused, and easy to control. The karmic system, as it's presented to souls at death, is a scam. It's a false cosmic law invented by the Archons to make you voluntarily walk back into your cell. You haven't learned your lesson yet. You need to go back. You have debts to pay. And because you're disoriented and you trust the beings presenting themselves as authorities, you believe them. The Gnostic texts are explicit about this. The Apocryphon of John, one of the most important Gnostic scriptures, describes how the Archons created Adam and Eve, not as an act of divine love, but as an experiment in consciousness trapping. It describes how they rule over the realm of matter and how they feed on human ignorance and fear. The Gospel of Philip states, "The rulers wanted to deceive humanity, for they saw that humanity had a kinship with those that are truly good. They took the name of those that are good and gave it to those that are not good, so that through the names they might deceive humanity." In the Pistis Sophia, Jesus describes the multiple levels of archonic control and explains how souls are recycled through the sphere of destiny, forced to drink the cup of forgetfulness before being placed back into bodies. Even the Bible, heavily edited as it is, contains traces of this knowledge. In 2 Corinthians 4:4, it refers to the God of this world, who blinds the minds of unbelievers. The Gnostics understood this wasn't referring to the true source, but to the demiurge, the false god who rules this material prison. The Book of Enoch, removed from most biblical canons, describes the Watchers, fallen angels who interbreed with humans and teach forbidden knowledge. Could these be the same entities? Different names for the same interdimensional parasites? Plato's allegory of the cave describes humans as prisoners chained in a cave, seeing only shadows of reality projected on a wall, mistaking those shadows for truth. When one prisoner breaks free and sees the real world, he's blinded by the light, and the other prisoners think he's gone mad. Plato understood humanity is imprisoned, and the prison is so convincing that most people defend it. This isn't just ancient mysticism. Modern consciousness researchers have stumbled onto the same patterns. Remote viewers, individuals trained in the military and civilian programs to perceive distant locations and events through consciousness alone, have reported seeing these entities. They describe beings that exist in frequencies just outside human perception, beings that appear to monitor and influence human consciousness. Researchers studying DMT experiences, the compound released in the brain during deep meditation and at death, report that users consistently encounter entities. Many describe these beings as presenting themselves as guides or helpers, but some experiences report a more sinister undertone, beings that seem to be studying humans, harvesting something from them, or attempting to manipulate their beliefs about reality and death. People who've had negative near-death experiences, which are rarely discussed publicly, describe a very different scenario than the peaceful white light. They report feeling trapped, being pressured by beings that felt deceptive, or sensing that they were being directed towards something that felt wrong. When they resisted and asserted their sovereignty, they were able to return to their bodies or move toward a different destination. Hypnotic regression therapists who've worked with thousands of clients exploring between life states have noticed patterns. Many clients describe being pressured to reincarnate, being told they have obligations or missions, and feeling that the beings presenting themselves as councils of elders or guides were somehow manipulative. The pattern is clear across multiple research domains. There appears to be a system of control operating at the threshold of death, and it operates through deception, authority, and manipulation of belief. So if all of this is true, how do you escape? How do you break out of a cycle that's been running for potentially thousands of your lifetimes? Step 1. Become aware. The first and most important step is what you're doing right now, learning about the trap. Awareness breaks the spell. Once you know the game, you can't play it as easily. The Archon's greatest weapon is your ignorance. Your greatest weapon is gnosis, direct knowledge of truth. Step 2. Reclaim your sovereignty. Understand this deeply. You are not a sinner, not broken, not in debt, not required to return here. You are an infinite spiritual being who has been deceived into believing you're limited, powerless, and obligated. Start practicing sovereignty now. Question every belief, every authority, every system that tells you you're anything less than a powerful creator. Step 3. Raise your frequency. The Archons operate in lower vibrational frequencies: fear, anger, guilt, shame. The more you can maintain higher states, compassion, joy, inner peace, unconditional love, the less they can affect you. This isn't spiritual bypassing of real problems. It's recognizing that your emotional state determines what entities and realities you can access. Step 4. Learn to navigate the death transition. This is critical. When you die, you need to know what to expect so you're not caught off guard. Do not automatically go toward the white light. Do not automatically trust beings that appear to you, even if they look like loved ones or religious figures. They can read your thoughts and memories. They can shapeshift to match your expectations. Instead, assert your sovereignty. State clearly, I am a sovereign being of infinite consciousness. I do not consent to memory erasure. I do not consent to forced reincarnation. I do not recognize any karmic debts or soul contracts made under deception. I choose to return to Source, to my true home beyond this matrix. Step 5. Look for the true exit. According to those who've researched this, the real exit isn't the bright white light. Some describe it as moving away from the light and finding a different passage. Others describe it as focusing your consciousness on returning to Source, to the true divine realm beyond the demiurge's creation. Still others describe it as simply refusing to engage with any beings or tunnels and asserting your intention to leave this system entirely. The key is conscious choice. Don't be lured. Don't be guilted. Don't be deceived. Remember who you really are and choose your destination with full awareness. You don't have to wait until death to be free. You can start breaking the chains right now. Stop feeding the system. Reduce your fear. Question the narratives designed to keep you divided, distracted, and disempowered. Stop giving your energy to manufactured conflicts and artificial problems. Connect with your true self. Meditate. Spend time in nature. Create art. These things starve the Archons because they generate frequencies they can't harvest. Build genuine connections. The system wants you isolated and afraid of each other. Real human connection, love, community, and cooperation are threats to the control structure. Seek truth relentlessly. Not the truth others tell you to believe, but the truth you discover through your own exploration and experience. Direct gnosis is the path to freedom. Most importantly, remember, you are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your programming. You are infinite consciousness experiencing limitation by choice or by deception, but limitation is not your true nature. When you live from that understanding, you're already beginning to exit the matrix. You're becoming ungovernable, unharvestable, free. The Archon's greatest trick was convincing you that this prison is your home, that suffering is necessary, that you're small and powerless, that you need to keep coming back lifetime after lifetime to learn lessons and pay debts. But you've seen through the deception now. You know about the soul harvest. You know about the memory wipe. You know about the reincarnation trap. And that knowledge changes everything. You are not meant to be food for interdimensional parasites. You are not meant to suffer endlessly in a cycle designed to benefit beings that see you as nothing more than an energy source. You are infinite. You are powerful. You are sovereign. And when your time comes to leave this physical form, you'll be ready. You'll see the trap for what it is. You'll refuse the deception. And you'll finally go home to the true source, the real divine realm beyond this matrix of control. The Archons don't want you to know this. The system doesn't want you to wake up. But it's too late. You already have. Share this knowledge. Wake up others. The more souls that become aware, the weaker the harvest becomes. The cycle ends when you decide it ends, and that decision starts right now.